Today's episode was inspired by
a shitty man.
Straight white men.
Yeah. Okay, so bottom line is we had a student.
This isn't the bottom line. This is another reason.
Yeah, it's not bottom line.
This all stems from, and again, if you've been listening to the podcast.
Boys rule, girls rule. That's what it stems from.
Well, if you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you know that.
Obviously, we're queer and we promote gender affirming.
Beyond that,
everything.
I guess you should already know that too. I'm like,
it's 2020.
I'm going all the way to the beginning of like men, specifically straight white men in society, have always been taken care of. And the hair industry is so interesting because we never thought about it.
Uh-huh.
But when a man goes to a salon, the pricing is different and catered to be less expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they know this, but training for hairdressers is also like, how do you make men feel comfortable?
Yeah.
And how do you take care of them?
Yeah.
And how do you, do you remember we had to learn verbiage for men?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can't use certain words because men don't want to feel feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I just look back and it's so fucked up.
Then we have Harry Styles in a skirt, and I'm like, yes.
Flip
that script.
Absolutely. But I never even thought about it for a long time, like how messed up it was that, if a guy went in for a haircut, it would be about 50% less than a female haircut.
We just didn't think that it was an issue. And then all of a sudden...
You're not cutting less hair.
If in fact, it's harder. And I think
the other argument is that women have long hair and men have short hair.
It would take me about at least minimum 35 minutes to cut your hair, and it would take me less than 3 minutes to cut my hair.
But the funny thing is,
but
men have long hair. Now, like that. And we're not even gonna say now. Men have always had long hair. They have short hair. Women have long hair. Women have short hair. The pricing of like male and female, like I was saying earlier, unless there are actual penis and testicles on the hair strands.
Growing out of your scalp.
Yeah. Balls.
And then it should cost more.
Yeah, because nobody wants to touch that.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, there's no such thing as a male or female haircut.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this for years, but I think we live in a bubble where our followers and our fans and our clients, they all understand that. But then you go to like other towns and you deal with salons and you're like, oh, you still have men's haircuts.
Gendered.
And don't get me started on children's haircuts.
And that's just like two on the spectrum of gender. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like, why do we have to gender anything? Like, why not? And that's why we really promote time-based pricing.
Right.
Like, if anything, you should be paying for the time it takes for me
to cut your hair.
To cut your hair and keep it at that. But we had a student. We had a student who had a staff member.
This is just one
this
story.
Is one of the thousands of stories I've heard in this. And people still fight us, like, on Instagram. Like, well...
People get so...
I mean, like, well, where's the men's cut? Like, where's the... And sometimes when it's, like, women fighting for it, I'm like, what are we doing?
That makes me laugh.
Well, okay, anyways. So we had a student who had a staff member who... She found out that the staff member was essentially getting bullied by her, quote unquote male clients, and that they were basically harassing her for the price. And so she felt bullied into lowering the price for them.
Pause.
Yeah.
If anybody bullies you as a hairdresser, you have my permission to physically defend yourself.
Punch him in the nostril.
Right. Punch him right in the dick. Just right in the kisser.
But I mean, that's the shit that pisses me off. And what's funny is that this stylist wants to specialize in barbering, but feels like
which is also not male.
It's not. Which they really enjoy it, but they don't feel like they can be profitable in it because the current clientele that they have of men are being they're being harmful.
Assholes.
Yeah.
I've decided not to use the word harmful. I'm just going right for the word asshole.
Yeah.
Like when people are like,
too.
it's a harmful space. No, those people are assholes.
Yeah.
Like, fuck being
dicks.
harmful. But it's just when I hear people talk about men's cutting and they kind of defend like, well, it's different when you cut men's hair. There's really nothing to defend, but their thoughts are that it should take less time.
Yeah. It should take less time and it should cost less.
And it should cost less. But there's also a flip side, which is men feel like they're, and I'm not babying other men, but I do think men think they're less important in the salon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's just a men's cut.
Yeah.
Like
it's just a trim.
Yeah, they kind of like label themselves as like, it's not as important. It's
and
not
we
a big
get
deal.
upset because of course they don't understand the inner workings of it, you know?
Yeah, you're paying to not understand.
So again, they feel less hair. And it's not always coming from a place of like ego and
I just want everyone to know, clients and hairdressers, and a lot of hairdressers are like, I already know this, but
yeah,
you don't have less or more hair. It's still all the same. You're dealing with the same circumference of the head,
mm-hmm.
right? So even if I cut off, this much or this much,
mm-hmm.
it's the same parameters of
square footage.
Yeah. So it's like when people are like, it's just a trim or it's just a men's haircut.
No, I still have to go through the same exact motions. My arms are just out here.
It's all
down
the same. Yeah. And the whole timing thing, like that certain things should take less time. You don't get to dictate how long something takes for me.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide how long a barbering cut
mm-hmm.
or blow dry. Like, I know that we live in the world of we got to get it done fast. Like, I know so many salon owners that are
they want to get it fast because it's restaurant mentality. We have to turn it over.
Yeah.
Like we need new people at the table, new people.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Like,
if you're charging appropriately, you can take all the time you need.
Yeah. And personally, I want you to take your time on me.
Yeah. Why would you go to someone to do hair when they're just like, I do men's cut. So my mom used to work at, what's that place called? Sports Clips.
Bibbidi Boop Salon?
Bibbidi Boops, but
mm-hmm.
it was Sports Clips.
Yeah.
That Sports Clips mentality is set up so that you get them in, you get them out.
Yeah. At like $4.
$4.
And like 50% of that. Well, I don't think the stylist actually makes anything in some places. They make an hourly.
Yeah.
They get like minimum, or not minimum wage, but they get paid like
$8
an hour or $15 an hour or something.
I hear all this. It's kind of interesting that people will get frustrated about pricing and they will leave the salon industry and go work for an hourly rate.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you could have been charging hourly
the entire time.
I think for all the salons out there, and I never talk to these people. I always talk to our audience. I hope we're talking to new people. I hope new people are listening. I was just going to say,
I was like, this podcast is not for our normal crew.
No, this is for new people.
This is for the newbies that is still maybe struggling with old school, implementing old school methods within your salon, and you're trying to transform and you're just trying to get a different perspective.
It's like, if you live in a town where taking gender off the pricing menu would be disruptive, I know it's hard. Someone's got to be the first to do it. And I invite and challenge it to be you. Because I know that right now everyone's talking about it. It's not about vigilantism. It's not about virtue signaling, about like, oh, we're gender neutral. I don't give a fuck. Like,
that's what you should be.
We're so past you being cool for that. Like, that's just the way the world is.
Yeah.
Men should not be
We're not saying it for clout anymore.
Men should not be paying less, and women should not be paying more. But also men should be treated just as equally as women in the salon world. So I remember being a hairdresser, like if a man walked in, it was like, oh, it's just a men's cut.
Yeah.
So forget about the price of being less. It was also like I cared less.
I was just about to say that. Like we were part of the problem.
Yeah.
So now we have to fix it. Because we did that too. We minimized it. We teach our clients how to act. So like we told our client, oh, it's just quick. Look, we'll just get you in and out.
Yep.
You're my bread and butter.
Yeah.
You're the consistent,
Oh, she's just my client's husband.
Yeah. Just.
Yeah.
And now it's, well, shit.
Now you're like, and then we're like
now
mad.
I just have to flip. Yeah, now we're resentful and we're mad. But what, yeah, obviously we talk so much about hourly pricing, charging for your time. But like, even if you're a la carte, like, what if you just called it what if you just had a haircut on your menu?
Yeah.
No gender. Like, it would cause
here's what makes
some
me laugh too.
ruckus.
Here's what causes so much nonsense too is like when they can't do hourly, they're like, okay, I'm gonna do 30 minutes and I'm gonna do 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, like when we say go hourly, we are talking on the hour.
Hourly blocks, yeah.
So the bare minimum appointment would be an hour.
Yeah.
And then you go from there if you do color or other things. But when we're not saying by the minute, we're not saying by the 15 minute, and we're not saying by the half hour.
Because that's when people start to, like, well, you charged me for an hour, but I only sat for 30 minutes.
I was only here for 36 minutes. I should pay $36.
But what is hilarious to me, and we've said that in multiple podcasts, even if you call whatever the service price, like when you're putting things in a booking system, you have to put in a service name. So obviously we would call it a haircut, and then you would put the time. So you'd say 60 minutes, and then it would be $30 or whatever. You know, I'm lowballing. But like, so we're saying change the service price, call it 1 hour. It's still 60 minutes, still $30. So all we're doing is changing the service title name. It's still the same amount of time.
I just want to point out that Sid went to $30.
I know. I don't want to math right now.
Let's say
it should be like $100.
Yeah.
But my point is that when we call it a haircut and I booked you for a haircut and it's on my books for 60 minutes and I finish at 45 minutes, I don't charge you less. But when I call it an hour session and I finish at 45 minutes, we all get, she's paying for 15 minutes more. She was before. It was happening before.
I don't think people grasp that.
Yeah. And
you already were charging an hourly rate. You just didn't call it that.
We're just changing the verbiage around service titles of services, essentially.
Yeah.
And what it does is it brings back the power to the artist. So again, when it comes, it's going to take work. Like, you have to be on this, like, I'm on a mission to change it, because you are going to get pushback and you are going to get people that don't understand.
I will say clients, when we talk to clients about hourly pricing,
they get it.
They get it immediately.
Hairdressers have the hard problem.
Yeah.
My clients actually don't freaking care.
No, they're like, just tell me how much it is so I can buy it.
I'm like, book a 2-hour session. It's going to cost you this. And sometimes they leave it an hour and a half, hour and 45.
But they still pay for 2 hours.
Yep.
Which they would have already been doing even if it was a la carte.
Yep. If my balayage was 2 hours, they're still paying for it even if I finished early.
Do you, when you were like working behind the chair more, like in commission salons and stuff, did you hate doing quote unquote men's cuts?
No, at that time, if you've seen old pictures of me, you
were a men's cut.
Yeah.
That's why they called you Men Cut Sid.
I had the, variations of like the Tegan and Sarah mullet, shaved sides. I did the like Miley haircut. I had short hair, honestly, until I think like around 2016, I started to grow it out.
Yeah.
So like my whole career, I literally had clippers on my head.
So when you would get your haircut, was it a men's cut?
Well, you attract what you get, right? And then when I had long blonde hair, I started attracting blondes, and then I became a blonding specialist. But I had a big lesbian community because of me being in
so you were
the
like
queer community.
You were doing like the gender queer stuff
before it was like
even named.
Yeah, before it had a name, before it was like the safe space for that community to come. And I had a lot of men. And then I went and taught. I learned barbering and taught barbering with Innovata for a little bit, but my passion had I really loved color and really leaned into that.
I remember learning men's cutting and them giving us verbiage of like, you have to use words like structure, texture.
Yeah.
You have to use like harsher words because
everything was whiskey and brews. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I fucking love whiskey and brews.
Yeah,
like, why can't I have that too?
It was so toxic.
Yeah.
And I did it. I was like, this is how you talk to men.
Without even thinking about it. But I think the world has changed to be more, there's a lot more awareness. And I do want to give our industry a little bit of credit. There has been a major shift in this direction. A lot of people are, straying towards time, even if they're doing session pricing or package pricing or time-based pricing like we teach. But so it is being removed, but there's still a chunk. Like we still meet and hear and get the trolls on the social media of people just really upset by this concept. And and I think they're upset because they don't know how to transition it, or they don't have the support for the verbiage when they get pushback.
I think they're upset because nobody wants to be told I've been doing it wrong the whole time. And we are not saying that.
No, I think people need to get over, like, you're not fucking wrong. Yeah. The world has changed.
And by the way,
we don't give baby whiskey anymore to go to sleep. I mean, unless
give baby, baby's gonna get this baby needs whiskey to go to sleep. But I do think that if you do not want to do this, that is also your right.
Absolutely.
If you're like, no, I believe that there are men's cuts and women's cuts, and that is absolutely fine. I think you're dumb. But other than that, who cares?
Also, clients have the right to either want to go to your salon or not. Like, right. So I just think you got to do what's good for you. But I think our job is, like, we're just trying to just
open your eyes to. It's like when you go to a restaurant and there's a kids menu, but I can't order off of it.
That's bullshit. That one pisses me off all the time.
But it's like,
because I just want, like,
why?
fried chicken nuggets.
It's really all it is a smaller menu.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not a smaller person. It's like, that's also a little bit problematic and weird.
You pick on me constantly because Astra and I share things. But it's because I can't eat. It's such a waste of food and money for me. I will not finish a whole meal.
I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because
you just love a good.
I think you're both codependent.
We share everything.
Yeah.
That's a different podcast.
But the same kind of goes with, like, children's cuts, children's menu. Like, why are children's cuts less? In anything, it is
if anything, they should be the most fucking expensive thing in the salon.
If you want me to cut your child's hair, it's actually, it's $200 an hour. It's $200 per minute.
Yep.
And it's
every time your kid moves, $200.
Yeah. Every time your kid makes a noise, I'm upping the price.
Yep.
And if I have to turn their head, that's manual labor that I did not sign up for.